All right, ladies, welcome to our last day of the Find Your Purpose Challenge. And I am so excited to hear what's been going on and what has been your learning. So I would love to know, first and foremost, what was it that made you want to join the Purpose Challenge? What was it you were looking for? Anybody want to share? This is a very sharey thing. We're connecting just like we were sitting around my kitchen table and just having a sarsaparilla. So anybody want to share what it was they were looking for from the start? Anyone?
Okay. I was looking for I've known that there's been a direction that I needed to go and things that I needed to do, but with so many other things that I have going on in my life, it's trying to figure out how to make that happen so that so that I can do all the things and really have a direction so that I can follow it and know what I'm doing.
I love that. And did you feel like, I mean, have you had an idea of kind of where you want to go or like no idea at all?
I've had an idea for the past couple of years, and it was really strong at one point a few years ago, about 3 years ago, but then life got in the way, and I had to put a pause on that and step back. But it's trying to know, where do I start? How do I move with this? And I'm starting to find a little more direction, a little bit more specificity on what
Got
it
it.
is.
Oh, I love that. And do you find that the direction you got before, did you feel like that was sort of like sometimes we get this preliminary direction, right? Just kind of opening a file drawer, we kind of call it, and you're able to kind of move forward on that a little bit, and then you kind of put it maybe to the side or something or whatever. Maybe kids, things happen with family or whatever. Did you feel like it gave you kind of an initial thing, or did you feel like it was more of, well, it was just sort of like an FYI, but I really didn't feel to pursue it at the time?
I definitely felt a big need and a big push for it, um, and but kind of not knowing not knowing exactly how to start and where to go with it. I started with some preliminaries, and then things happened with my family, and then of course there was COVID, and that just put everything all out of whack. Um, but I'm feeling it again, that now's a good time. Now's the time to keep going on it.
And are you feeling comfortable that you could share a little bit about what you're feeling to do, or is that still a little bit tender?
No, I feel like I'm okay to share with it. It's been quite a process for me, and really, I think deep down what it is that I want to help other people to find their way in their faith from a faith-based perspective rather than from a doubt-based perspective. To start with what they have and to be able to find answers on their own. I'd love to be able to spoon feed and say, here's everything you need, but that's really not the way we learn. And that's what I feel drawn to help people with, is to find their own way and to give them those tools to do that themselves. I don't have any sound.
Sorry, I just hit
There we go.
do you feel like that's is that because the way that you would want to help someone, would that be more of like, I want to take them through like a 3-step way to do it, or is it more of, I want to kind of coach people through it, or I want to I want to just sit with them in the experience? Do you know what I mean? If there's different levels of actively helping people on their faith journey. Any thoughts on that?
Kind of what I've thought before, and this is part of my process. I'm still figuring it out. I would love to be able to offer resources and stories and experiences of ways that people have found their way before, to help, because everybody learns and feels and understands differently. And so I think being able to bring ideas and people together in order to do that is really kind of what I'm looking for.
I love that. I love that. Okay, that gives me some ideas of kind of the road that you're kind of feeling to go down. That's awesome. Does anybody else want to share what brought them to the Purpose Challenge, what they were looking for? Taylor or Amanda?
All right, I guess I am chair is trying to figure out how to unmute myself. But yeah, I was trying to figure out the exact direction. So way back when I kind of had like these blessings, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's funny. That's not, they must have been like something else. And then life took a different road. And then this last couple years, like life came to a screeching halt, and I have done like a complete 180 and have to figure out a new life plan. And I feel like God's like, remember back then when I said like this? Now is that time. And I learned like a bunch of lessons through that. But so now I just feel like I was trying to figure out what is like my new purpose and what exactly, because I've had all these ideas and they've been popping up. I just didn't know like how to narrow it down, because sometimes I get so much, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, and so it's kind of good to be able to have those like 3 circles, because that helped really like be able to see it visually, because I'm a real visual person but didn't know that. So I thought that was brilliant. And
So love that. I'm the same way. Whenever I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing, I've got to get a whiteboard, I've got to get paper, I need to do a whole bunch of scratching and figuring out and barfing it out and all the things, just so I can figure out what is it that I'm even thinking, get it from here to here.
Yeah, and I've never done that, and I don't know why I haven't, because I've always just tried to do it in my head. And so I love that you had us actually like put it on paper, because that made a huge difference. So
I'm so glad. And I was going to ask Jordan, I should have asked you right at the same time. What helped you the most this week with the Purpose Challenge? It sounds like that was really helpful for you to get it down on paper and see it visually, and then start funneling it down. And that's the idea between all of those exercises that we do, is that, you know, those 3 brainstorming columns, and then you funnel it down, and then you do the what makes you tick circles, and trying to get it down to that purpose statement of who you are and what you feel that you're to do. So I love that. Awesome. Did you feel like you had any aha moments on that at all?
yeah, I did. I realized like I am good at these one things, but those are kind of like my abilities, but I haven't really looked and done anything with like my talents. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm being steered to with that. And so that was kind of a aha moment too. And so
I love. And the more, ladies, the more that you keep putting these steps into this and this energy, this effort, we know what has President Nelson said, the Lord loves effort, right? And what does effort bring? Effort brings rewards. And a lot of those rewards are clarity. The more that we get clear about who we are and what we're to do, the more we naturally have energy that's going to help us want to fulfill that. Sometimes when we're not clear, I don't know if you felt this way, when you feel kind of chaotic or unclear or it's hazy, it's hard to put energy behind it because it's just sort of overwhelming. Like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what he wants me to really do. I'm going to go and forage in the fridge, right? Kind of a thing. But I love that you're getting clear and you're sitting with it for a minute. That's half the battle, especially right now in this transition between summer and back to school, is allowing yourself to sit with this purpose challenge information and just saying, wow, what is it? Take it to your sacred spaces in nature or in a closet or whatever it might be, just a quiet space, and being able to say, what is it that I actually feel he wants me to do and pursue right now, and in what specific way? So I love it, love it, love it. Thanks so much. And we'll come back to more questions. Amanda, did you have anything you wanted to share? I don't know if she's in a place that.
Hi. Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to unmute it. Well, my situation is a little bit different in the sense that I've raised 4 children, and so I felt that my purpose is to raise my family. And now that they're older, I feel like I'm really struggling to find a new purpose, if that makes sense. Because I've put so much time and effort into raising a family, which I'm sure many people do. And I'm just looking for the right direction you know, with all the talents and the skills that I feel like God's given me, to then be able to use them to help others. And I'm really not sure how to do that.
I love this. First of all, I think Lynn is from Australia. Where are you from?
I'm from the UK.
Where?
I'm from near Manchester.
Manchester. Ah, I'm from Scotland, and we've gone back to England. That's where the roots are from. That's where my family's from. And every time I hear I'm like, oh, my heart be still. I yearn for fish and chips. So anyway, just had to say, I love this. This is a lot of women where they get to this very obvious place where we've all put our families first, right? And then there's this sort of feel, whether it's emotional or it's timeline, like my last one went to kindergarten or whatever, that there is this switch point in our lives where we say, okay, I've been doing it this way so far, and that's been my focus, and that's great. But now either life brings the shift or you feel an emotional shift and you go, it's time to do it differently. I remember years ago talking with a friend, and he said, it's like you're going down a river in a canoe, and then you open up to open water, and now you're to be on a ship. And it takes a different kind of skill set. It takes a different mindset. It takes an up leveling of where you're going to go and where God wants you to go. So I love that you're asking these questions. You're saying, I can see that this is an actual life shift. It's not even just an emotional one. It's, okay, I have, my kids, they're pretty much raised at a good place. Now what? So have you had any spidey senses, any tingling about what those kinds of things could be? Anything that's catching your interest that you're like, this keeps coming back to me?
Well, I went back to do a degree recently, and then I tried to do a master's, and then I got quite sick, which has been a bit of an obstacle for me, because I still feel like there's a lot more I need to give and a lot more I can do. And I think for me, there's a turning point about I'm always asking what I should do rather than what I want to do. That's massive for me. Because I don't know what I want. I've never asked that question before. I've always asked, what should I be doing? What is the right thing to do? What should I, take care of my responsibilities and those things. So to ask what I want is just a whole new thing for me.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And I think this, next to the question of how much do you weigh, is one of the hardest questions for women, honestly, because we go, wait, I can ask what I want. Like, I really get to ask that. It's not just necessity, or I've got to get kids dinner. I've got to take them here and there. Like, you actually have a choice. I mean, we have a choice, but you know what I'm saying, that you really can go deep and say, what is it that I want? And that is a powerful question. And that's what happened to me many years ago when I had 4 kids, 6 and under, and I was just barely making it mentally and emotionally. And asking that one day when I had this just total turnabout, where I was done. I just, something snapped, and I just had this thing of, I got a babysitter for an hour and a half. I went upstairs. I didn't dare leave my kids alone. Like, I had to be in the house because I had Asperger and ADD kids and all kinds of things. And anyway, long story short, I remember closing the door and I did not know what I wanted to do. Have you guys been at that place? You're just like, I don't even know what I feel. And I took out a piece of paper and I just started writing, what do I want? And then boom, 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 just slashed it down on paper. And then I turned it over and I wrote, what's stopping me? And then started writing down what it was that was stopping me from moving forward on what I wanted. And some of that was just mindset. And some of it was, I didn't know clearly what it was that I wanted to do. So now that you've got this choice, now you've got this option, what are some of those fingerling thoughts that are coming to you? What's the things that just maybe they keep coming back, or you feel compelled, or you find yourself thinking about without even thinking about? You've just talked about getting sick. Are you feeling better and well enough to be able to move forward on something? Or are you going to be doing this sort of together, woven together?
I think I'm going to weave it together, because a lot of my background is holistic health. It's spa management and things like that, and massage therapy, kinesiology. So I probably have the tools that I need to help my health. So I'm good at using that on other people, but probably not so good at using it on myself. so
That's the cobbler's son has no shoes, right? Like, that's that whole thing. We'll do it for everyone else, but not us.
Yeah. So I really don't know yet. I'm just trying to have the faith to go with it, and to keep praying about where I need to put those skills.
I love that. And I would encourage you, did you find any ahas during the Purpose Challenge this week? Was there anything that kind of popped up for you?
I think all of it, because I've been reading your books for the last month. I mean, I've only recently found you, so I've just been going through the whole process, you know, and putting the life plan together. And I think it is a process, and I think it's being gentle with yourself as you work out what that plan is. Like it doesn't have to be set in stone. You can change it as you go along.
That's exactly it. And I love that you're giving yourself, and I hope you ladies do that, that you allow yourself some play in this process. Sometimes what I hear from women over the years, that they'll say some things to me like, did I get this right? Did I do it right? Am I doing it the right way? And we get really concerned about doing the right thing and the right way, where this is a little bit of play. Asking yourself what two words that are super important for me and for the women that we work with are energy rich. What is energy rich for you? What does that look like? What does that feel like? The kind of thing that when you do for hours, you could get lost in it, or you would do it for nothing, no pay, because you just love the feeling of it. I know that how I work with women, I will do till well, President Nelson has set the bar, right? 110. I'm thinking he's going for 110. That's my thoughts. But I mean, really, truly, I will be doing this in some form, no matter what happens to it. I will always be wanting to help women find and fulfill their purpose. That's just core and energy rich for me. Do you find anything that's like that for you? And the same thing for Taylor and Jordan, other people that are watching later, and Jerusha. When you find something that you're like, oh, this is so fulfilling, even when it's hard, even when I don't know what I'm doing, there's a fulfillment factor to it that I can't deny. Is there anything like that, Amanda, that resonates with you?
I mean, I love to help people. For me, that feels fulfilling. I do a lot of teaching, so I think maybe teaching might be a path I need to look at.
I think you're absolutely right. When you feel like that's something you love to do, a lot of people don't like teaching. So that's really good to look at. Another thought for everybody as you're looking at the things to move forward on, I encourage you to go back to those experiences that the Lord has given you and kind of look at that trail. It's a little bit like, you know, the breadcrumb trail of what Heavenly Father has plugged you in and out of. I know for years, Heavenly Father plugged me in and out of things that I just didn't understand. He would have me do TV and then it would go really well and then he'd unplug me. And then he'd do radio and then it was really successful and he'd unplug me. And I was like, I don't understand what you're doing here. My friend, I said, you should put this on a pillow, but my friend always says, I know God has a plan. I just don't know what it is. Like that was exactly how I felt. Like that's a Deseret book pillow. I didn't know what he was doing until so much later. When I'm life hacking this with women and I'm teaching them how to write and speak and do radio and know how to run retreats and know how to do podcasts and all these things. And then it made sense. Oh, he's plugging me in and out so that I get the learning, but that's not the thing I'm going to stay with. So is there anything like that, Amanda, that you feel like God has plugged you in and out along the way? And I'm looking a lot at your experience with your health, the massage, the kinesiology, the things that you've learned, and it's been through your experience. And think about that regarding temple and the plan of salvation, plan of happiness that we know about. Think about those things that you've experienced, how much more powerful you will be in being able to turn around and do that for other people because you've had that personal life-shifting experience with it. So anything come to you as far as with the massage and kinesiology and the teaching and kind of that whole Venn diagram, circle, circle, circle of, wow, what could be a way that I could contribute that. Another thing to consider, you guys, is sustainability. There's a lot of things that we can do, and there's a lot of opportunities that I was given to do TV and radio and all these different things and stay with it. I even had, I mean, this is not, please don't take it like this. I'm like, oh, and I even have, it's not like that. But you're going to find this as you go along. There's going to be all these paths. And the more that you open up more paths, there's going to be big lights and bling and opportunities. And the more that you have this purpose statement, the more you're clear about what you want and what the Lord wants you to do with it and how you can be an effective instrument for him, the more you're going to be able to stay on a path that will be able to be fulfilling and sustainable. Because there were different things that I was involved in or invited to do that I had to look at the hidden cost. And what I mean by hidden cost, does anybody kind of guess what I mean by hidden cost before I explain it? Because I don't want to be all explaining. Anybody want to share what they think by hidden cost?
Oh gosh, energy and time with family. Oh my goodness, that's huge.
Bingo, like goosebumps up and down my arm. Lots of cool looking experiences, but then what you're not being told is how much you're going to have to actually put into it. I remember being asked to do my own TV show for one of the stations here, and it was 5 days a week, and it was going to be my own show. I mean, talk about like on the core level, wow, one-time energy. I could film an episode and it could go out there and it could be one-time energy. So on the surface level, it's looking pretty good, right? It's looking like it will match the things that I need it to do. But on the reality, on the back end level, how much time is it going to take for me to write those episodes to make sure everybody has that information, to make sure it's got useful, helpful, fun, stunning things, right? And all the things. So I went to the director and I said, program director, and I said, listen, this is a great experience. However, I have littles. This is the amount of time and energy I can give you. I'm not kidding. So I cannot do 5 days a week. I can do 1 day a week. And they went back to the drawing board and came back, and then they said, okay, what we can do is we can do a different person hosting the segment each day. I'm hosting the show each day because it was actually like an hour-long show. But so I could choose my own day. And I said, okay, that would work. But I also need to have an assistant producer, because I will give you my stuff all day long and I can prepare ahead at 4 a.m. when my kids are sleeping. But I need someone who can be there on the day that makes sure everything happens and done. And they're like, done. So done. Totally done. Well, I get my 12 weeks of stuff done, my episodes, I get them sent in. I go on that first day of rehearsal and it was a madhouse. It was a nightmare. And no offense to them at all. That's just how TV and new shows and things like that are. Like, and that's just the business, right? But I walked in and I was like, this isn't going to work. This is not going to work. Because what was going to be the hidden cost? Just like Jordan said, I knew that meant I was going to have to take more time away from my family. And I already was so clear. This is all I have. So I had to make a really tough decision. I had to go and say to him, I'm so sorry. I'm not your gal. I cannot do this and be able to give you what you need and give my family what they need. And he was, you know, really super gracious about it. What not happy about it, but super gracious. And they were darling about it. So nice, so kind. And I was worried about burning bridges. I mean, this is like a serious thing. But you know what? It worked out perfectly. It worked out just as it needed to. They found another person to replace me. And then 6 months later, the show was canceled. I would have put my heart and soul into something that was not sustainable, and it would not have lived. It would not have kept on. But I put that time and energy into my family. And after 6 months, we were still going strong, taking care of my family. So it's something to consider. What is sustainable? Now, before you knock something out and you go, oh, well, I know that I want to do this, but I can't sustain that, so I'm not going to do it. I don't mean that. I mean the approach, the way you go about it. Sorry, one more story. I don't know why I'm telling all these stories, but you know, Lamira can effectively just kick me under the table. Just send me a private message and say, cut. But I remember when I was at BYU and my dream was to be a broadcast journalist. This is back in the day. Like, anybody remember Jessica Savage, Connie Chung? Anyone remember all those back in that day? Thank you, Debbie, right there, right? Nobody knows those people now. But anyway, I would watch them. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a broadcast journalist, right? You have that feel, that yearning, that desire, that dream, like I can make a difference doing that. And I got to BYU and I realized after the first couple of classes, like, this is not conducive to family life at all. And I was crushed. I'm like, okay, I want to be a mom and have a family if I have that opportunity, but I've yearned for this since I was like in elementary school. So like, how do I do this? So I prayed and prayed and prayed. And the feeling thought was go on a mission. No, that was not the answer. So I went on a mission. And then on a mission, I was given the answer of come back and join elementary education. I was like, no, because that was, no offense, that was the major that all the women went into and never graduated from back in the day. That was like, I'm just husband hunting, but I'm going to say I'm at college for another reason. And I despised that. I was like, I'm getting my degree and I'm going to be using something useful. So I went into elementary ed and let go of the broadcast journalism because it was not going to be sustainable. And I thought that dream was over, right? And I just, martyr me, put it on the altar and said, I've sacrificed it and it's gone. Well, fast forward several years later, and I get invited by the church to go do TV, to be on an audition thing for this program they were doing for family called Standing Up. It was a 13 episode season, a whole season of it, and was able to do an audition. I don't even know how I made it. Like, you guys, really, I'm not telling you the stories to be like, wow, all that in a bag of chips. What I'm trying to share with you is, and I hope this is what's coming across, is that there's going to be all kinds of cool things and cool ways you can go about it, especially in this day and age, as we stay focused on what's energy rich, what we want, what the Lord wants us to do, and find that Venn diagram. As we do that and we stay focused on that, and He just leads us along, He's prepared the path. There I am sitting next to Bob Evans from Fox News, and there's Carlos Amezcua on the other side. He's like 13-time Emmy nominated anchor from California. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. But we get talking in the break. And they're like, how did you get into this? And I'm like, funny story, like I had 7 kids. Okay, so like, I don't know how I got here. I don't know what I'm doing here, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm acting like it's all going as planned. And do you know what they said? They said, you are lucky. You skipped it all. You skipped working weekends and holidays and all the things that took us away from our families. And you're sitting right here doing the thing that you want to do. Sustainable. So going with your dream, what you want to do, what you feel compelled to do, what you feel energy rich about doing, that you're like, this would fill my soul if I could do it. And then actively seeking the Lord in knowing what's the energy rich way to go about it. What is the most sustainable way in your stage of life to make this happen? Because in our day and age, we got all kinds of options to make it sustainable. So those are just some things to consider when you're looking at that purpose. Go with what your gut says, and then be open to the way that the Lord can help you make that happen and keep it sustainable. Super long point on a very short, maybe not even asked for question. But hey, that's where we went. All right. Debbie, Amanda, thank you so much for sharing. And I would love to hear more. If you guys have thoughts that you want to share, anybody have any thoughts on what I just endlessly shared right there? Any thoughts or feelings, or does it resonate at all? Hi, cute Angela. Happy to have you here.
I have a question on that. How do you, like, when you see that, oh gosh, like what it's going to pay, you know, the cost, sorry, brain. When you see the cost, even if you feel that push that you're supposed to move forward, what do you do if you're like, but I see the cost, but I'm still getting the nudge? How do you get over that hurdle? What do you do?
I love that. If you feel like there is a hidden cost, but you still feel the nudge to move forward. Has anybody felt that before? Anybody else felt that there's going to be a cost? I will tell you right now, there will be a cost. So we call it teamer: time, energy, money, relationships, resources, and health. The H is silent. Okay, so teamer, that it's going to cost something. Why? Because it's going to change us. And in order to change us, we have to sacrifice something. It has to cost something somewhere. That's our investment. And the Lord brings back you do cast crumbs upon the waters, and He brings back loaves. I can tell you that over and over and over. But what is the cost? If you're feeling the nudge, then I feel from the scriptures, it's up to us that we're to be engaged, not to be weary in well-doing, and we're to be anxiously engaged in a good cause. But we're also told, I just love when we have these like competing things. We're also told not to run faster than we have strength, right? So I think it's a lot of partnering with the Lord and saying, I get that you're asking me to do this thing that looks like I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. But I think what you're telling me is that's so that I'll partner with you. Because where in the scriptures do we see people who have moved forward on something that the Lord's nudged them to do, and they didn't think that they could do it? Everywhere, right? Absolutely everywhere. So the Lord has given us that example to say, when you feel something, when you feel the nudge to do something, and we call it a loving nudge, and sometimes the Spirit gives you a big nudge, right? But this loving nudge to do something, and you can't see how you can make it happen, know you're in great company, because that's every single person in the scriptures. And the Lord, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, it's purposeful. If it's not up-leveling you, if it's not making you nervous to make that leap, it may not be that full potential level that you're supposed to be doing. You may be playing it a little more safe. But if it's that, man, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm feeling so compelled about that, that's usually the Lord saying, it's time. It's time for you to make that up level leap. And I'm dying. We just got back from our trip last night and I've got to go find my charger. So Lamira, I'm turning it to you for any additional thoughts, and Angela, I'll be right back.
Love it. That's how it goes, right? Yeah. So have any of you been feeling that nudge? I mean, she's been talking about that, but you see that cost and then you feel that nudge, right? And that faith step, right? To take that. So yeah. Debbie, we would love to hear any wins or learning you've had. Like, tell us a little bit about what your week has been like, you know, what has been kind of your nudge, or where have you at in this process?
I don't know. It's just, I came on just to see what was going on.
Well, we're glad you're here. So just hang in, and as you have questions, we're talking about our purpose and moving forward in that. So please, we're so glad that you're here with us. So where are you coming from, Debbie? Where are you?
I'm just south of Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, awesome. We're so glad you're here.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for your patience. And I love that question, Lamira. And I think this is something to keep in mind, you guys, every single step of the way. And Angela Myers can speak to this. She's one of the gals in our DTL circle. It's called the DTLC, the Step Out Leadership Circle. But you think, oh, I've got the switch point in the road and I figured it out. And now I'm moving forward. Okay, now it's a done deal. Okay, we're good. We're solid. Until the next switch point, right? And it kind of feels like, what the heck? Like I was just here. But the beautiful thing is that, like I was telling my daughters who feel this way too, like, what's the point if every single time I'm going to be up leveling and I'm going to have something more difficult to deal with? It's that it gets easier, it gets better in a lot of different ways. And he is taking you on this plane, on this level that is helping you become more effective and more efficient in the way you do it. Think about Joseph Smith. You think about when he started as this 14-year-old boy, and then even as a 17-year-old, and then a 21-year-old, and you see how he spoke and the way he thought. And then you see as he's being tutored, divinely tutored, how he shifts and the way that he takes in information and the way he puts it all together and the way that his vision expands. Like, it's incredible. You get to the Ken Follett sermon and you're like, oh my word. Like the way that he was able to become and become and become and become. That's what the Lord wants us to do. And in my opinion, what I'm seeing is he's trying to train us in this way of becoming. I don't think that he's so worried about whether we get a newsletter or how we know how to speak in front of a big audience, or whatever, even though that's what I do and I teach them how to do it. I don't think he's so concerned about that as he is about that we get really comfortable is maybe not the right word, familiar with this process and get all in, get invested in this process and embrace it, because he's got a whole lot more for us to do, for ourselves, for our families, to influence other people. And as we catch that vision, as we get on board and we go, I'm all in on this train. Like, it's going to have stops and starts and it's going to break down. It's going to have all these things, but it's okay. I'm all in on this train. He can take us to places we cannot even imagine. I'm so sorry. One more story. So I was interviewing, I do a podcast host for LDS PMA, and I got to, it's Latter-day Saint Publishing Media and Arts. And I got to interview Camille Olson. Anybody know who that is? Are you familiar with her? She's a scholar, Latter-day Saint scholar, female scholar. She was the only female scholar in the Department of Ancient Scripture, with 13 other married men, as a single woman who was traveling over to Jerusalem, right? And everyone's giving her the look like, what the heck, you know? Anyway, she got flack, like she was not following the Lord's commandment if she was married and having children. So she's like, I am following the Lord's commandment. It's exactly what he told me to do. But anyway, I'm interviewing her, and she was talking about the process of this up leveling and allowing the Lord to take you places that you couldn't even imagine. She's like, I'm from Tremont in Utah. I thought I was just going to be married and have a bunch of kids. And she then became dean of LDS Business College, and then dean of the department chair of Department of Ancient Scripture Study, and all of these things, and co-writing all these books and all of these experiences, crazy experiences. And she's like, I never thought that I would be here. But what was it that she did? I listened. It's such a good interview. She just shares how every step of the way she was open. She didn't even like some of the things he was asking her to do, but she was open to the way that he was having her do it and saying, I want you here. And now I don't want you there anymore. I want you over here, and just going with it. So that nudge is just, that loving nudge is huge, you guys. And I'm so proud of you for listening to it and following it to take this step. And it seems like a small thing, you guys, 5-day purpose challenge, really what can happen. We have had women who have done the 5-day purpose challenge. They have moved forward on the things they felt they've done. You don't need to work with us, but they worked with us. They did stuff. They ended up going crazy, amazing things. I think Jen Brewer, didn't she do the purpose challenge, Lamira? I think she did the purpose challenge. I may have remembered it wrong, but I thought she did the purpose challenge. Anyway, she just got on. We did our alumni call the other day. She's going to be speaking at the UN, and she's doing this stuff with humanitarian stuff, and she's blowing my mind. This woman, she is amazing. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't mean that we have to go global to do something that's impactful. What I'm saying is, as we listen to that nudge and we just take the next right step, and that's all that is, it's just about taking the next right step, just like you're doing. You will be amazed at where the Lord can take you by just being all in with those steps. Even if you're kicking and screaming and whining and into the ice cream, it's fine, but you're still taking that next right step. Okay, anybody else have things that they want to share about what they learned from the Purpose Challenge, what they got from it, what insights that they gained?
I can share, Connie.
Love it.
Yeah, so I feel like everything you have said is so appropriate. And I'm sorry I'm late. I had a little primary situation and it distracted me. But I have felt for several years, about probably a year and a half, that Heavenly Father had something for me to do. And I felt strongly that I was supposed to do it. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is so the wrong time of my life. I have a very high maintenance special needs child. I have both of my elderly parents living with me. I have an older son that's married with kids that's special needs. And I thought, in a few years, maybe. And then I also thought, I'm 60. Why start now? Why are you doing this now? I should be relaxing and like my life should be calming down, which I know it never will. But I felt like he was telling me to do something. And it's been interesting because as I have been open to what he's asked, and I have said to him, if you want me to do this, you've got to help me, because I feel this strong nudging that I'm supposed to do something for you, that I'm supposed to get myself out there and not maybe in my comfort zone. So you've got to help me find the time if this is the purpose you have for me. And I have watched over the last year and a half as he has taken what I thought I was supposed to do, what I thought he was telling me to do, turn it into something so much bigger, way different than I thought it was going to be. And it's been hard, and I've hit my head against the wall, and I've had frustrations, but I've also seen him open up my mind so I could understand how to do the back end of my website, or how to do whatever all these weird, horrible technical stuff is that we're supposed to be doing. He's opened it up, and he's also dropped the people into my life, or brought the people into my life that have completely changed the trajectory, that have magnified what he's asking me to do, and somehow making me able to do that. And Connie is one of the most amazing major things that he's brought to me. Somehow I got connected with Connie, and it's just exploded. And so I'm so grateful as I see him saying, I want you to stand up. I want you to do something more. And I've said, you've got to help me, families first. And he's helped me by putting people in my path, by making miracles happen. It's been dang hard, but it's happening in his way. And he keeps changing the vision of what I think he wants me to do. So I'm so grateful for his help in my life, for his direction, for his knowing my limitations, and somehow bringing people to me to help me get past those limitations. So I don't know, I love Heavenly Father has a purpose for us, and we just got to be open, I think.
I love that. You know, it made me think so much. You're amazing. You guys cannot even imagine how amazing this woman is. And she's like so self-deprecating. Oh, no, I don't really do that much. Well, but it made me think about the pioneers. I think about them building temples, and they can't even feed their families, and they're sacrificing, and they're making this happen. And the Lord is blessing them in ways that they didn't recognize or didn't even know that he would. And it was all added and counted for their good. And he was able to do what he needed with them, even when they didn't feel they were capable, they didn't feel like they were whatever. I want you to think about in your life that what we want from this purpose challenge is for you to be ready to take the next right step, whatever that is. It may be the smallest little step, it may be a very big step, but my joy, my happy place, my fervor is all about trying to help women get that light bulb, like spark it. There's this thing inside all of us, and I love being a mom, and we all love being moms, and it's hard. Just like Angela said, it is stinking hard. And I don't want to ever make that sound glossy or whatever. I've had 6 kids, 12 and under. I know a little bit about hard, okay? Just letting you know. But I feel like our day and age, especially, and even back in the early days, you listen to those early pioneer women, we think that they were sitting home churning butter. They were not. They were out doing silk farms, and they were out petitioning stuff for the legislature, and they were canvassing the neighborhoods, and they were doing all kinds of stuff. So this is not new. But in our day and age, we have so many emotional pressures as well. And so it's going so fast that I invite you to recognize that the Lord has made you capable. As a mom, and He has made you capable. I don't know too many people who are so diehard about being a mom first than I am, in the sense of professional and personal, and how people know it in professional circles. This is me. Like, even when I was on vacation this week, I had texts of urgent things that we had to do. And I said, I will get to you on Friday. I've already made it clear. I'm with my family. I love you. And I accord you that same thing. But when you're on vacation with your family, I do not bother you. So it's this kind of thing that as we be mom ands, we are fulfilling President Kimball's injunction of, we are the bridge to those women, those good women of the world who know not where to find this. And we are showing them by our example how to be able to keep God and family first, and still do still contribute, still help people grow, still help our communities, still help fulfill something in some way that He wants and needs us to do. Hi, Levin, that He wants and needs us to do. And we don't have to choose either or. He will help us find the way. That's why women have such a flexible way of doing life. Instead of it being at 12, at 14, at 16, you receive this and this and this. We have it flexible. We can expand like a rubber band. As long as we partner with Him, we will be on the right road that the Lord wants for us. So it's something to consider, that as you've done this purpose challenge, I plead with you to pay attention to the things that sparked inside you, that kind of opened up that thing that may have been closed for a great while. I don't know if it's okay for me to do that. Is it okay for me to look at that? Absolutely. Look at it. Get your information. I know Eva Weitzman talks about in her talk that 3 different women who were pursuing their higher education got 3 different answers from the Lord about what they should do. One said, I'm not supposed to do anything more with this. I'm supposed to leave it right now. Another one said, I'm supposed to do it part-time. And another one said, I'm supposed to be on full-time. And I don't even want to. I don't want to do this. She was supposed to adopt a Chinese child and all these other things at the same time, which beautiful experience. But she's like, I'm not ready for this. Like, this is not in my plan. And it was in her plan. She just didn't read the fine print, right? But the Lord had this plan for her, and she just had to be willing. And just like Amanda said, we need to ask for what we want. We need to take our 16 stones and say, this is what I'm feeling to do. I don't know how to do it. I don't know if this is what you want. I don't know if there's something better, but please help me know this is where I'm at right now. And watch, listen, pay attention to what He's asking you to do. And as you do that, you write that down, you throw it down, you write it down, you sing it, whatever it is. As you really start opening that door and you activate your agency, the Lord will show you the path that is already prepared. I hate to give you a Disneyland analogy, but as we went there and I saw the map of Disneyland, I haven't been there in years and only went once, right? As I'm looking at all these different lands, Frontierland, Adventureland, Tomorrowland, right? All these options, all good options. Where does the Lord want you? How can He best use you? You got to ask, you got to share what you want, and then you got to say, hey, is this good, or do you have a different plan or something better? And when we do that, we now become a willing instrument to become more effective for Him. So this next step, we're going to kind of close out with this. What is your next right step? What are you feeling to do to know? Oh, I feel a theme song coming on in the back. Don't make me do it. The Small World. She just put a text on the side that said, just not small world. That's so funny. So think about what is the next right step that the Lord is asking you to do. Maybe it's call and talk to someone, and maybe you verbalize what you need to do for the next thing. Maybe it's I need to take a class, or I need to do an actual physical step, or I need to do it with someone else so I'm accountable. Again, it doesn't mean we have to take the whole kahuna and just take the whole elephant in one bite, not at all. But we can start allowing ourselves that vision that he's got for us. And I can promise you, he's got a vision for you. Absolutely has a vision for you. How do you know? Check your patriarchal blessing, the blessings you've received, the feeling thoughts you've had, bring those all together in that spiritual soup and just see what kind of a thing it's making for you. If you want some help, I have a discovery call. It's free. You can just come on and we can talk about where you're at, what you're feeling to do, and then we can talk about some specifics that might work best for you. And again, you can do this with a variety of people. You can get books. I can give you some books and recommend them for you that you could start reading as far as for self-help. It just depends on where you are and how ready you are to move on this next step. Because I can guarantee you, I've talked to all variety, all levels of women, of level of where they're at of wanting to move forward. And the Lord can work with you where you're at. He just wants to know your desire. In fact, that wonderful talk from President Oaks, it's called Desire. Not hard to find, but it's all about coming back to that desire, like Alma talks about. When the Lord knows your desire, and when you get honest about that desire, there's some women I've talked to like, well, I'd really like to be a speaker. I don't really want to know, like anyone to know that I want to do that. Like they're doing meth or something. I'm like, what's the point of doing speaking then? What is the purpose behind it? Well, I want to teach women how to. I want to reach women who don't know how to. I'm like, that's beautiful. Like that's for him. That's all we do is for him. So if it's in your soul, it's in your blood, and you want to move on it, you just don't know how. Well, there's solutions to that. So don't stress that. First, get your desire and then take it to him and then take the next right step. So I want to hear from you women. What's the next right step that you felt to do? I love that, Angela. It completely changed the plan on me because I was moving in a direction and he is nudging me where he wants me to go. And like you mentioned, a lot of times it's a vision that's better, broader, bigger than you had even imagined. And yet he's got the people, he's got the resources, he's got the tools waiting for you. It's almost like when I see my little guy doing the Mario Party game and there's those gold coins. I don't play these games, so I don't know what they are, but hopefully it's something good. But anyway, he goes and he gets these coins. It's like the Lord has those along the path, just waiting for you to choose to walk it. So what's your next right step, ladies? Who wants to be the bold, brave person to share?
I'm good at bold. My answer this morning while I was reading my scriptures was talk to the youth in the ward. Ask them where they turn to look for answers.
I love that. And so often, sometimes we feel like it's out there, right? We got to go to Ghana and find it or whatever. It's so simple. It's like that Elder Lawrence talk, what lack I yet? Such simple answers when we just ask for that next right step. I love that. A survey for them, informal, or even a fireside night at your house with a really yummy treat or a bunch of treats, right? But being able to ask them and get their feedback and I don't want anything from you guys. I want to know what you think and feel. Wow, do our youth need that in this day and age? I'm so done, and so are they with being talked at. They need to be able to share their thoughts and feelings and opinions and have them validated. So I love that. Anyone else? I love that. And it looks different for every woman. I know someone who does cooking for him, someone who does interior design for him. We have a gal that we work with that she does gardening for him. It's helping heal families through generational gardening. Super cool and amazing. And they've had some powerful experiences. Who would have guessed, right? Others are doing things with families for him, humanitarian aid and family history. You will have your own unique way to fulfill the purpose he has given to you. Yes. And I can promise you, women, as you take the next right step, as you move forward on this, you will feel fulfilled in a way that you cannot imagine. The closest thing that it comes to for me is bearing and raising children, because there's a fulfillment that comes from that, even when it's hard, that you just can't even describe, right? It's even on the days where you're like, I don't want to get out of bed, you do, and you just keep doing it. But there's this fulfillment, this purpose-driven thing that helps you know and feel I'm on the right path, I'm on the Lord's errand, and everything I do each day matters. I know that between raising my family and then what I do with women for Disciple Out Leaders, that comes second. Every day, I know that what I'm doing is eternally significant. Everything I'm doing. So how do I feel when my head hits the pillow at night, besides grateful that I can go to sleep? I feel fulfilled because I know that what I put my energy into today totally mattered. And that isn't always the case. I've been at jobs where I'm like, I don't know that this eternally matters. I know it does for my good, but I could really like stop this today and be super happy and know that I could do something else that would be more enjoyable and eternally fulfilling. Anybody else have a next step that they're thinking? Oh, I love that, Taylor. I feel like I'm supposed to start a podcast or something along those lines. Love, absolutely love. And oh my gosh, podcasts can be so impactful. That really is our way of reaching people in this day and age, of being able to connect. Not just social media just has sort of a one dimension to it, but podcasting has the feel, the energy, the connection, almost like the Zoom. There's just this thing about it that people can go deep fast. So I love that. Empress called it hitching a ride with those who can help us. Yes, that's exactly right. And as we connect with those people that can help us move forward and in those strides and those, I want to say bigger, but more effective and efficient ways, we find ourselves doing and becoming things that we just cannot even imagine. I was just talking to my daughter this morning about it, where she made the varsity team and she knows that she's not exactly at varsity level, but because she was so encouraging, she was so pep, she was so unifying on the team before that she was on, that the coach put her on the varsity team, knowing that she was not at that level. But she's like, Mom, I know that playing with these varsity level players is going to up level me. It's going to elevate me. And I'm like, exactly. You hang with those people and you will play like those people. That's exactly right. I'm hitching a ride with Connie. I better up my game. Anybody else want to share, Camille or Amanda, what your next right step could be? I feel like I need to go back to a deeper organizing at home so that I can move forward. And you know what? The program I used to do, we still include it in the one that we do, but the program I used to do is Faithful, Fit, and Fabulous, and it's getting your 8 life areas into a working 80%, which a lot of people would laugh at that. They're like, 80? I'm like, yes, I'm an avid B pluser. And it's that working 80% because you got to hit 80 before you hit 100. And I can guarantee you when you do 80, you're going to be able to do 100 more likely because that 80 is the consistency. You're doing it at a B plus level. But that organizing is huge. And as I've worked with women, organizing a room at a time or organizing your purse, even organizing the way you want to do your work, just organizing those things makes everything clearer and makes it more possible. And again, that bookending what we said at the beginning, when we get more clear, we have more energy and we have more results because we're focusing that energy so that we do get results. I love that. Oh, Amanda, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Do you have something that you feel like is your next right step? Again, if you guys want to chat about this some more, you're welcome to. It's a free call and we are all about what's best for you. You need to know that. We have no other agenda here other than what does the Lord want for you and how can we help you make that happen? What's the next right step? If you need to go and be with so-and-so, if I need to hook you up with some resource, whatever it is, what is your next right step? That's what we want for you. Sweet Cammy, I'm currently stuck on my next step, mostly moving forward with the sister project organization, but I still haven't figured out my specific one for me. I love that. That means you are seeking and you're asking. Again, I would go back to this purpose challenge exercise and be that honest with yourself. Dream. Alexandra Stoddard, who is a huge New York designer and New York Times bestselling author, she talks about don't design scared, dream, and don't self-edit. What is it you would ultimately love to do? You know, that gal Jen I was telling you about, she wanted to, when she came to our retreat, she wanted to work with humanitarian. Her heart was in humanitarian. She served her mission in Guatemala. Her heart went to those people. She was doing stuff on nutrition for people who are impoverished. She loved all of this. But at the retreat, she was in tears. She was sobbing, like literally sobbing. She had this breakdown moment and we were all circled around her, but she was just sobbing. She's this Amazonian woman. And she said, I don't know how I can do family. I love my family and I want to focus on my family and do this thing that is pulling at me. My heart, it aches to work on this humanitarian stuff. How do I do both? And we worked her through some stuff and we helped her. And a few weeks later, she gets a call from this organization that says, it's a humanitarian organization. And it turns out to be one that she's like, Connie, if I had 20 things down, if I could ever do my own humanitarian organization, and they hit every one of them. And they called her and said, we would like you to be our executive director. What do you think? and we'd already taught her about how to set her boundaries about being a mom. And she said, well, what works for me is, and she told them, she would just jump at it. She told them, in order for me to be a mom, and I need to do it this way. And they said, you got it. You got it. And now, then she went to working with humanitarian stuff and sharing Eubank. And then she's doing it with someone else right now. And she's doing all of this humanitarian stuff and still keeping family first. And she did that by taking the next right step and not shrinking back and saying, I don't know how this can work and I don't think it can be done. So I totally encourage you to look at that next right step. How do you suggest dreaming when you have been trained to not dream? I really get stuck when it comes to dreaming. Oh my heck, yes. Ask yourself some of these questions. If someone took care of my life for a whole year, took care of all the details, the bills, the children, all the things, what is it I would actually love to do? Okay, someone took care of my life for a year. Second, if I had no financial cares at all, what would I pursue doing? No financial cares at all. What would I pursue doing? And third, if I got to the end of my life and I looked back and I said, I did not do that, and I know that I should have, which thing would that be? What would that be? Anybody have any thoughts about what we've talked about today, or any feelings about what they want to do for the future? You're welcome, Camille. Thank you so much. That was a great question. I appreciate you asking it.
Can I just share one thing?
Please.
I'm not going to say that my trajectory is changing suddenly, or Connie might have a heart attack, but no, I want to say that as she talked and she shared something, I was able to see where my timing and my personal thing of that, making that shift. And Jordan might know this because Jordan and I were connected through other ways, but I felt a strong pull in my life that it was time to leave one path and go to another. And I didn't know how I was going to do that because I had a whole clientele with me. And I was like, what do I do? And it's funny because as Connie shared that, her timing was the timing I started feeling that shift. And 6 months later, I hitched a ride with Connie. And we're here, and I just want to testify to you that the Lord is preparing you and has prepared you, and that all these skills, as he's plugging you in and out, and motherhood counts. Everything that you are learning, whether it's learning to work with people in the school system because your child has special needs, or you've been a volunteer, or you are even just building relationship skills within your family, going to tell you that like those things matter. Those skills will come and he will use you for good where he needs you as you take that faith step to that next level. And I just want to share that with you, that is what will happen. All those little things that you're like, does that matter? It does. And it will come into play like, oh, I learned how to do that once. And so I just want to share that with you, that he's got you. He's got you because you are yoking yourself with him.
I love that. That is so true. That sweet woman, she's been with me since, and I'm like, I don't know how she does it on the daily, but it's been incredible. And her being able to bring her talents and abilities, ones she didn't even know that she had. She didn't even know some of the things. I remember saying to her things like, okay, do you know how to do X, Y, and Z? And she'd be like, no, but I can figure it out. And this was a couple of years ago, and now she's boss at all of this stuff. So it's pretty incredible. I watch how both of us have grown and how we've been able to grow what we do with the women and how they've grown. And now we're seeing women that Camille works with, a gal that came to our retreat. She didn't know how to do. She was like, I want to do DIY crafts, and that's what I do. I love power tools, but I don't know how to do it for him. And we taught her how to do retreats, and now she's doing retreats. She's on her 5th retreat, I think, and she's got national sponsors, and it's called the Sister Project. If you get a chance to check it out, it's amazing. She helps underserved women, and they go in and they refurbish their home. Like the first one had 4 special needs kids, I think she was taking care of, in like a 1,700 square foot house. It was unreal. It's a nonprofit. It's incredible. And she teaches women how to use power tools, and then they all go in that day and they help refurbish it in a day, sort of like Magnolia style. And it's the coolest thing. And then these women go home and they know how to put up their pictures with their power tools and all this stuff. It's just so cool. It's just wonderful. But it's wonderful to see one thing lead to another. And now someone that came to her retreats is now starting their retreats and helping and creating retreats of her own. So it's just incredible. It's wonderful to see this goodness. We just go about doing good like he did. Ladies, this has been an incredible time today. And I know we're over. We usually don't go more than an hour. And so I so appreciate your time today. As always, again, if you have any questions, let us know. You can go on conniesokol.com/retreat. If you want to find out about the retreats that we do. We also, if you scroll all the way down, there's a click for a free discovery call. Like I said, I'm happy to work you through any details of you taking your next right step, whatever the Lord wants you to do. We just want to help you and give you that cheerleading nudge to do what you need and want to do. We have resources on our website. I've got podcasts that you can go on and listen to. It's LDS PMA, but also Connie Sokol podcast. It's Purpose Filled Life. And you know, from being on the Purpose Filled Women Facebook group, we post quotes and inspirational messages and conferences and cool things you can attend and do just to get you doing this stuff. We have Education Week next week. So excited for that. There's so many classes there. I'll be teaching there, but there's lots of classes there that you can go and find out to kind of get you on that next step and getting that motivation and whatever you do. I so encourage you to connect with like-minded women. This is one of the most important tools for you to be successful in anything that you do. Connect with like-minded covenant women that you know get the Lord and get you and what it is that you want to do, who can speak that way, who can talk about business stuff or nonprofit things or developing your talents and using them for him, and they get that concept. That's going to help you so much and be able to move forward. All right. We're so happy to share. We're so happy to help you move forward. We are women's cheerleader. That's what we've been called. And we're like owning it. Absolutely. We just got the pom-poms and want to help you to find and fulfill your purpose and be that disciple leader for him. I think we're going to announce the winner of our week, anxiously awaiting. And Lamira has done whatever she does. We have no agenda. We have nothing that we go on the back end and try to finagle anything. Whoever this is, all we are prayerful. We're just prayerful about who needs this and who could use this and who it might be most helpful for. So I'll let Lamira take that away. But first, thank you, ladies, for everyone showing up and doing this Purposeful Challenge. Like I said, you guys, it will seem like the smallest little thing. This is that spark. Elder Renlund talks about, remember that talk, Abound with Blessings, and he had the pile of firewood and then the match, that picture of it in the conference talk issue, and you have struck the match. So kudos to you all. You did not realize it, but you have struck the match. Let's see what happens. Make it burn. All right, go ahead, Lamira.
Ladies, thank you for joining us. And I just have to say, we do this randomly, and our winner of the $1,000 scholarship, and you'll want to get with us, is Jordan Anderson. So thanks for being on. And that is a scholarship that goes towards the retreat. And we are looking forward to getting to know you. And so we'll have you set up a time with Connie to do a discovery call and then learn about that. So love you. And thanks for joining us.
That's so exciting. We give you details. You can get details on that retreat page too, the conniesokol.com/retreat. The retreat is September 8th through the 10th. It'll be for a year. And that's our last one this year. So if you want to find out more of kind of like where it is and what we do, you can check it out there. Awesome. Ladies, absolutely love and adore you. And we have Taylor is coming to that retreat in September. We're so excited. Cannot wait. I loved my conversation with you, by the way. It was so sweet and so stirring. So we're super, super excited. As always, if you have any questions, just let us know. Meanwhile, thank you so much for being here. Lamira, did you have any last thing you want to share with the women?
No, just keep showing up. Keep showing up. We love you and thank you for coming, and keep sharing your light because it will reflect back to your Savior. So thank you.
Love you all. Mwah. And stay connected with us in Purpose-Filled Women. We want to hear about your journey and we want to cheer you on. Okay? Mwah. Love you, ladies. Thank you so much for being here.